Welcome to Missouri Sports Talk. I'm your host, Cameron Staley. Today we've got Week 4 Missouri High School Football Small School Predictions. This past week I went 24-18. I think that's one of the worst records I've ever had in football this year and last year. Definitely the worst I've had this year by 5. So I'm not very happy about it. It was a rough one for me, but I'm going to shake it off and we'll move on to the Week 4 predictions and hopefully do a lot better than that. Let's talk about 8-man from this past week. Northwest upset over Concordia 36-26. This puts the Mustangs into the 8-man rankings. Appleton City 82-60 on the road over Drexel. Lockwood 67-20 over Jasper. King City an impressive 52-0 win against Albany. Landon Carlson 5 for 6, 163 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and 2 touchdowns on the ground rushing. Pattonsburg 74-42 over North Andrew. Wyatt Mays 198 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, 4 receptions, 69 receiving yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns. Wellington Napoleon, they win 63-26 over LeBlanc. I've got Wellington Napoleon at my 11 right now. I think with a win this coming week, they could get back into the rankings. Here is the 8-man scoreboard for Week 4. Let's talk about the rankings. Number 1 is Lockwood. Number 2, Archie. Number 3, Rockport. Number 4, Worth County. North Shelby into the top 5, sitting at number 5. West Nodaway at 6. Hardin Central at 7. Northwest Hughesville into the rankings, as I said, at 8. 9 is Concordia. They fall from number 5. And number 10 is Appleton City. They fall, I believe, 1 or 2 spots. And it's just a product of other teams playing well. They had a solid game this past week as well. But we just had some other teams make some bigger moves this past week. So Appleton is just a product of victimization of other teams playing better. Bishop LeBlanc versus Knox County is where we'll start off the predictions for this week. LeBlanc's off to a rough start. They're 1-2. But Knox County, they have played all winless teams. Their opponent record, I believe, is 0-9, maybe 0-8. If one of those teams has had an off week, it's not a good look for Knox County playing like the worst of the worst in 8-man, basically. And I'm sorry to disrespect those teams. Sorry to disrespect Knox County with that, but it's just that is what it is. So LeBlanc, I think they're looking for a bounce back here, and they win it at home. Lincoln versus Concordia. Give me a technical upset here. Lincoln, in 3 weeks, they've only played 1 game. That's because a week or 2 before the season, they dropped down to 8-man because they had some staffing issues, not like coaching staff, but team-wise. They were having some injuries. They just didn't have enough players to have an 11-man schedule this year. They dropped to 8-man a year early. They were supposed to be an 8-man from now on starting next year. Like I just said, it had to go down a year early. But they're looking good. I mean, they still have the staff to play 11-man, if we're going to be honest, starting-wise. But I think that transitions well to 8-man. They've got 8 good players on the field. Concordia, they are dealing with some injuries right now. And, I mean, Lincoln's offense is just super prolific. In their first game, they scored over 60. I think they beat Concordia at home here. Lockwood versus Greenfield. I'm taking Lockwood here. We got them at number 1. They're 6-0 against Greenfield since 2021. And Greenfield's given up 57.3 points per game on average. North Andrew versus Worth County. I'm going to take the Tigers here. They're number 4 in my rankings. Since 2015, Worth County is 6-7 against North Andrew. And last season, they won 64-6. So Worth County is an easy pick here. North Shelby versus Wellington Napoleon is our game of the week in 8-man. Last season, North Shelby did win 66-28, but Wellington Napoleon has better averages in points per game and points allowed per game. This should be a prove-it game for Wellington. Could also be a prove-it game for North Shelby, however you look at it. But like I said, Wellington with a win this week would be shot right back up into the rankings because that's a win against number 5 in the state. So we'll see how this one goes. Prediction on Friday night. Oric versus Hardin Central is where we'll end off 8-man predictions. I'll go Hardin Central here. They're 2-0 matchup history against Oric. I know they're on the road. I don't think that's going to matter to them because they score 58 points per game. So Give me the Bulldogs. Class 1 from this past week, Holden 21-0 over Adrian. I mean, I don't know what's up with Adrian. 0 points in the past 2 weeks. We'll see if they're able to bounce back. Harrisburg, they lose at home to Scotland County 40-30. This is good enough to put Scotland at number 10 in the rankings. Harrisburg fell out of the rankings from number 8. They've got a rough schedule ahead of them these next 3 or 4 weeks. We'll see, with the Central State 8, it's they got Tipton and South Callaway coming up. I think they got a tough game this week as well. So we'll see how Harrisburg does. Monroe City 46-0 over South Shelby. I really did not expect this bad of a season from the Cardinals. I honestly thought they were going to be a solid top 10 team in Class 1. They're showing that, hey, maybe they're closer to the bottom 10 than they are to the top 10. Thayer, 21-14 over Liberty Mountain View. This Liberty Mountain View team I had at number 3 in Class 2 coming into this game, and Thayer I had at number 3 in Class 1 coming into it. Thayer, they go up to number 2 off of that Tipton loss that we'll talk about here in a second, and Liberty Mountain View drops down 2 spots to number 5. And we'll get to the rankings here soon, but I think these are still 2 really good teams. They both play competitive. The media poll has been absolutely sleeping on Liberty Mountain View, and they actually started receiving more votes off of this because, first off, I stuck my neck out for them and posted publicly on Twitter like, hey, what are we doing? They've allowed 0 points so far. They got a tough matchup against Thayer. They play close. I mean, even if they lose, that shows that they're a top 10 team. So they started to receive more votes. I'm happy that the media poll noticed that, or at least one of the guys saw that. I know for a fact because they commented. But we'll see how it goes for both these teams this season. Tipton, they lose 21-7 at home. Lamar, we know what the Tigers are. So I feel like this is a solid competitive matchup for both these teams, and it's only up from here for both of them. West Platte, an upset over Penny, 13-7. The Penny hype is dying, I gotta say. They were runner-ups last year in state. Everybody was like, hey, they're still here. Well, they're 1-2. And their state championship counterpart, the Adrian Blackhawks, who actually won the championship, they're also 1-2. So I don't know how to really think about them right now. I've got Adrian in the rankings still. Drop Penny out, though. And let's go ahead and talk about that right now. The Class 1 rankings for this week. Sitting at number 1 is still Marionville. They have not proved that they shouldn't be in that spot, so the Comets will stick at 1. Number 2 is Thayer. A lot of people thinking that Thayer maybe is number 1. I don't know. I just got to see Marionville prove that they're not number 1 first before I even think about putting Thayer at number 1. Number 3 is Tipton. They only fall 1 spot from that loss to Lamar. Number 4 is Salisbury. I believe they went up 2 spots, maybe 3. Windsor, same thing. They're up to 5. I believe they moved up 2 spots. Putnam County, they are at 6. Adrian falls to number 7. Banfar up to 8. Ashgrove into the rankings at 9. And Scotland County into the rankings as well at number 10. Adrian versus Midway. I think this is the bounce back game for the Blackhawks. I mean, it's been a rough start for them. They haven't scored a point since week 1, but they've got 7 straight against Midway, so I think they get it done here. North Platte versus East Buchanan. This is another bounce back game in my opinion. East Buchanan just lost 65-17 this past week. That's a rough one, but North Platte also lost. So these are 2 teams looking to bounce back. I think East Buchanan, with that 12-1 matchup history since 2015 against North Platte, there are also 7 straight wins against them. I think they make it 8. Brookfield versus Polo. I will say, I don't like Brookfield's schedule. I think they play it easy. These next 3 weeks, though, they got 3 straight challenges, and then they go back to easy stuff to end off the season. We'll see weeks 5 to 7 if they really are good. This week, I think they win it quite easily against Polo here. They won by 34 last season, and they're only allowing 13 a game. Salisbury versus Harrisburg is our Class 1 game of the week. Salisbury is only allowing 2.7 a game, but they are 3-6 against Harrisburg since 2016. Prediction on Friday. Scotland County versus South Harrison. I just put Scotland County into the rankings, but I'm taking South Harrison here. They're a class above. I've had them ranked 2 of my 3 polls so far, and they're 2-0 against Scotland They're allowing 16.3 a game. I'll take the Bulldogs here. West Platte versus Mid-Buchanan. I don't see this game being particularly close. I've got Mid-Buchanan at number 2 in Class 2 right now. They have 9 straight wins against West Platte, and they have a 44-point win differential right now in their points per game compared to their points allowed per game. Class 2 from this past week, Winnetonka really shuts me up here. 46-0 is your final. Centralia 52-16 over Clark County as expected. Lost in a blowout 65-17 as I previously mentioned with East Buchanan. 32-0 on the road for Warsaw. Josh Harvoth, 103 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. A reception goes for 73 yards and a touchdown for him. Macon, a tough one, 27-12 over Palmyra. We did have a player injured in that one. JT cracked some vertebrae. Wishing him the best. It's a tough path of recovery for him. So just everybody, best wishes out to the Palmyra community. South Harrison 42-7 over Marceline. The Class 2 scoreboard, let's talk about the rankings. Blair Oaks, they of course sit at number 1, an impressive win against Osage on the road this past week. Number 2 is Mid-Buchanan. Lamar back into the top 3, they sit at 3. Number 4 is Fairgrove, they stay in that spot. Liberty Mountain View swaps spots with Lamar, they sit at 5. Warsaw at 6, North Callaway at 7, Lawson up 1 spot to 8, Holden into the rankings at 9, and South Harrison back into the rankings at 10. Bowling Green versus North Callaway. This is a bad start for the Bobcats. I mean, just put it in a transparent way. This team is always good, but right now they look really bad. So I will go with North Callaway. I think Bowling Green can bounce back, but I think it starts in week 5. So I will go with North Callaway here. Father Tolton versus Hayti. Hayti, I got a comment, and I think week 2 is like, hey, rank these guys. And I said, no. And then they went out there and lost. So I will go with Tolton here. I think Hayti falls to 2-2 because Tolton's only allowing 5 points a game. They got a 37.7 point win differential. Now, did they play 3 really, really easy games? Of course. But I think the Trailblazers do have some upside this year. Lawson versus Penny. Like I said, the Penny hype is dying in my heart and my brain. I will go with Lawson here. They're scoring 42 points a game. And, I mean, it's just the offense for Penny. They got to figure it out on that side of the ball. Liberty Mountain View versus Ava. The name of the game in this one is defense. In the first 2 weeks, Liberty Mountain View did not allow a single point. Week 3 is their first time getting scored on in their 21-14 loss to Thayer, who we've got at number 2 in Class 1. So that's not a bad loss whatsoever. Ava, though, they're allowing 43 points a game on average. I think Liberty Mountain View takes advantage of that and runs away with this one. Monroe City versus Centralia is our game of the week. These two teams are 5-5 against each other since 2015, and they've got similar points per game and points allowed per game averages. It should be a close one. Willow Springs versus Mountain Grove. Got to go Mountain Grove here. They're 10-1 against Willow since 2015, and they've got 5 straight wins on them. So Panthers will be the pick here. Class 3 from this past week, Maryville 31-7 over Chillicothe. Mountain Grove, an impressive 48-7 win against Ava. Blair Oaks takes care of business 42-6 at Osage. Seneca, this was probably one of the biggest matchups of the week. It was my Class 3 number 1 and my Class 4 number 3, I believe is where I had them. And Seneca wins this one by 21 points. Valley Catholic 47-15 over Potosi. And Wright City, an impressive one, 34-8 against Bowling Green. I said this one would be sloppy, no offense. Well, guess what? Wright City, they say, let's put some offense on the field this game. Grant Lehman, though, on the defensive side of the ball for Wright City, they only allow 8 points in this one. He has 12 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. What a game for the young man. Class 3, let's go with the rankings here. Number 1 is Seneca. Valley Catholic up to number 2. Live for Life falls 1 spot to number 3. Maryville at 4. Dexter up to number 5. Mountain Grove at 6. Boonville at 7. Osage falls to 8. Borgia falls to 9. And St. Genevieve holds their spot at number 10. St. Francis Borgia versus Holden. I'm going to take Borgia here. These two teams meeting for the first time. They are across the state from each other. Holden is quite close to Kansas City, and Borgia is, I want to say, O'Fallon, Washington area. So they're right outside of St. Louis. This is an interesting matchup. I don't know how it came about. I will go with the Knights, though, with that home field advantage. Borgia is more battle-tested than Holden, so I think that's where the pick comes from here. Park Hill Central versus St. Dominic. Both of these teams undefeated. This has to be the Class 3 game of the week. They're both allowing under 10 points per game, but let's see if the offenses reign supreme in that one. Eldon versus Osage. I think Eldon gets fraud checked in this one. They're 3-0, but they've played all teams that are rough, to say the least. Their combined opponent record in their 3 teams that they played is 1-8. Osage, they've played Blair Oaks, they played Moberly, and they played week 1 was Bolivar. So they're more battle-tested by a long shot than Eldon is. I will go with the Indians here. Potosi versus St. Genevieve. I'll go with the Dragons on the road here. They're 10-1 against Potosi. Since 2015, they're scoring 35 points per game. Richmond versus Center. Center, last year they had 1 win. This year, they've already got 2 through 3 weeks. So they've shown improvements, but Richmond coming off a really impressive comeback victory against Marshall. Those highlights are on YouTube, Missouri Sports Talk, exclusive highlights and interviews. I will go with Richmond in this one. They won 46-0 against Center last year, so I'll take the Spartans here. Southern Boone versus Boonville is where we'll end this video off. I'm going to take the Pirates on the road here. They bounced back with a big win against Hallsville this past week after losing to Marshall in week 2. I'm nervous about Southern Boone's offense, but Boonville's offense is scoring 34.7 a game, so give me the Pirates. On Thursday night, we will have our large school predictions. And I'm also going to work on getting out to my first Thursday night football game of the season. I've got 3 options right now, so I'll be reaching out to all 3. We'll see if we can get something done. I don't know. I'll tell you on Thursday if I get an answer. This has been Missouri Sports Talk. See you next time.